You're listening to a CNA podcast.
Some tech titans have their uniforms. Jeff Bezos went from nerdy geek to trim and chic. Mark Zuckerberg wore a gray t-shirt and jeans for years. For the late Steve Jobs, it was a black turtleneck and jeans. You can pick Jensen Huang out of a crowd, too.
Do you like my jacket?
It's a black leather jacket, actually. Part of the reason why the founder and CEO of chip giant Nvidia has been described as a rock star. Zuckerberg dubbed him the Taylor Swift of tech. He doesn't have as many fans, but he definitely has a following, some of whom hung on his every word this month when he took to the stage to open Nvidia's annual Software Developer Conference, or Nvidia GTC.
As I'm standing here, I wish all of you could see what I see. And we're in the middle of a stadium. Last year was the first year back that we did this live. And it was like a rock concert. GTC was described as the Woodstock of AI, and this year it's described as the Super Bowl of AI.
A record-breaking 25,000 participants were at the San Jose Convention Center in the U.S. for this year's edition. CNA's Tan Sihui was among them. I'm Teresa Tang. This week we go behind the scenes of the event to talk about NVIDIA's founder and the future of AI. Hi, Sihui.
Hi.
You were in Beijing covering the two sessions, and immediately you were whisked away to San Jose. I want to start by asking what being at this conference was like. I was reading about it, and apparently there were pancakes served in the parking lot, Taiwan-style night markets, not to mention robots everywhere. How epic of an event was it?
Oh, it was absolutely epic. I mean, considering the fact that it's also my first time in the US and the first time at the GTC conference. So I kind of didn't know what to expect. But even prior to the event, I kind of had a sense of what it was going to be like because hotels around the area quickly snapped up extraordinarily quick. And I had to find hotels in other areas, and these hotels were going up so fast. I mean, despite hotels rates going at $1,000 per night. So, I mean, some context, last year alone, reports say that the conference brought more than 15.5 million US dollars into the area. So that was 16,000 attendees. This year, it's 25,000 attendees. So the day of the conference itself, well, roads were completely cordoned off. Uber drivers who took me to the conference center, they were lamenting traffic conditions every day because, like you said, it wasn't just a conference. It almost felt like a whole festival with a night market just outside, performances. I was working too hard, so I didn't actually get to experience the festivals. But then again, when it came to the day of the keynote speech, the SAP Center where the keynote speech was held at, it was completely packed. It was really like watching a sports game, Super Bowl of AI. I was even told some Nvidia stuff couldn't get access because all seats were snapped up. And this year was the biggest turnout ever. Even the CEO said the day of the keynote that the only way to hold more people at GTC is to grow San Jose. And he said that he said that, and they said they're working on it, and without elaborating, of course, how they're actually going to do it. So you can imagine the scale of the event.
People who have met or who know Jensen Huang say he's bold, he's really smart, and that he has this mystique about him. I can't get over the fact that he delivered that keynote address for more than 2 hours without notes. He had no notes. He had no teleprompter as well. Now, I have never come face to face with him, but you have seen him in real life. What's it like being in the same room as him?
No notes, no prompter. Maybe he is AI himself. Who knows? So bold and really smart for sure. Mystique somewhat. I mean, since the first time I first met him in Beijing at the company's Chinese New Year appreciation event in January, that was considered a low-key event. But first impressions, well, he's kind of like a rock star. You know, he has this sort of presence when he goes on stage. He's humorous. Everyone was taking selfies with him by the end of it. It just shows how accessible he is. The same thing happened at the end of the press Q&A session at this year's GTC event. Reporters also wanted to have a selfie with him. So he's almost like the Taylor Swift of AI. But at the same time, I've been trying to get a one-on-one interview with him on CNA. So that's been really hard. If Mr. Huang is listening, you know, CNA wants that interview with you.
You are one of about 200 journalists at the media question and answer session, and you were chosen to ask him a question. Let's listen to your back and forth.
Singapore CNA here, right here.
China has great ambitions for AI. Under normal circumstances, there will be tremendous opportunities for Nvidia in the Chinese market. Could you tell us about your vision for Nvidia and AI in China? Were there no trade wars or tariff threats?
Now, unfortunately, we don't actually have good quality audio of his response to Sihui. So can you tell us the gist of what he said?
Yeah, I'm sorry, because the mic was placed too close to me, and I think they didn't allow any kind of video recording, so my camera operator wasn't with me. I was quite lucky to have been passed the microphone by the communications team to ask a question. I think it's because CNA is about understanding Asia, and especially Southeast Asia. It's a region becoming increasingly important to Nvidia. Southeast Asia poised to become global AI hub with over 30 billion USD in AI infrastructure investment. So in his answer to my question about his vision for China, if there were no trade wars or tariff threats, we could tell he was quite cautious in his answer because he says it's most important to abide by the laws and regulations. Seem to have also brushed off any kind of worries about the threat of Chinese competition, despite the disruption of Chinese AI models like DeepSeek. In fact, he spoke admirably about the country and the fact that a lot of their scientists come from China alone. And he actually encouraged more Chinese people to become computer scientists. So despite export controls, China remains a crucial market to Nvidia. Nvidia sales in China still grew in the first 3 quarters of fiscal 2025.
So what is Nvidia's vision for the future, given those tensions between the US and China right now and those higher tariffs, right? How much of an issue will those levies be? And of course, like you say, we can't forget about DeepSeek.
That's right. He continued to emphasize that there will be no meaningful impact on Nvidia despite these tensions with Beijing. That's because there are partners working to bring manufacturing in the US, and these network of suppliers don't just come from the typical Taiwan, Mexico, and Vietnam. He actually adds that onshore manufacturing by the end of this year will happen back in the US, and so Nvidia is in a good place. He did say that the company will shell out several $100 billion to make semiconductors and other electronics in the US over the next 4 years. So it's clear to see that they're remodeling its supply chain away from Asia. Just shows how much of an impact that Trump's export and tariff measures have on a big company like Nvidia. Let's take a listen to Mr. Jensen Huang.
We're building AI factories and AI infrastructure. It's going to take years of planning. This isn't like buying a laptop. This isn't discretionary spend. This is spend that we have to go plan on. And so we have to plan on having, of course, the land and the power, and we have to get to our CapEx ready, and we get engineering teams, and we have to lay it out a couple, 2-3 years in advance, which is the reason why I show you our roadmap a couple, 2-3 years in advance.
So is this Nvidia's world and we're all just living in it? What were the sentiments of those who were attending this conference? Did they buy into all this hype and the vision that Mr. Huang is pushing?
So I spoke with one analyst. He said that the difference between this year and last year's keynote speech was that the CEO made a concerted effort to thank investors in this year's keynote speech. Last year, there was just one slide thanking investors. This time around, he had multiple slides, even thanking some individually. So it's clear that Nvidia is using the GTC as a platform to reassure investors of its leadership. Even during the press Q&A, there was a question about whether countries are overspending on AI infrastructure, EU spending some $200 billion this year, China spending some $1.4 trillion in the next 15 years. So he defended the need to continue aggressively spending on AI infrastructure. Really comes off the back of DeepSeek's entry, the fact that it was able to produce AI models with a fraction of the chips and at a significantly lower cost. I also spoke with other attendees, and they were still optimistic of the scene and still feeling like there's lots more to come. That's even despite the stock market at a low for Nvidia following the GTC conference.
Now, this was an AI conference after all, and you got to see, or should I say meet, some pretty interesting things. But I have to say, robots, they creep me out so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. I met robots, and they were really almost talking like us human beings. The way they respond, it was insane. And I think we put up a reel of me talking to a robot, and a lot of the comments were like, is it for real? Or is this AI? Or is there a human being behind the robot? And so there's a lot of talk about what AI is like at this moment. And so it was really cool. We also met other robots. Yeah, I was also creeped out, but it is absolutely cool. And I spoke with one humanoid. He's trained to do household chores like washing the dishes, vacuuming the floor, and watering the plants. Take a listen to this little clip.
Hey Neo, what are you doing?
Watering the plants.
What is your favorite task to do in the house?
Definitely watering the plants. That's why I've done it so many times.
Can I shake your hand?
Sorry, 1 second.
Sure.
I need to get out of watering plants mode. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
Get out of watering mode. That is too funny. Before we go, the future, it's going to be much more than just plant watering robots, according to Mr. Huang. You're back in Beijing now after your whirlwind trip to San Jose. What was your biggest takeaway on where AI is headed and also how it's going to impact society?
I mean, I'm very excited for AI. I'm based in Beijing and I was in the US. I think it's exciting to see countries really in this race for pole position to be ahead in the humanoid race. And so I'm also excited to see what China has in store when it comes to the humanoid race. I'm going to actually attend a marathon that's going to happen in April where we'll see robots against humans, seeing who's going to win the race. So it's absolutely exciting. It's the first humanoid and human race. So I think it's going to be impressive and insane, the way that AI is going to infiltrate our life. And I'm excited to see that happen. So let's take a listen to Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang again. He talks about what the future of AI holds.
Agentic AI basically means that you have an AI that has agency. It can perceive and understand the context of the circumstance. It can reason. Very importantly, it can reason about how to answer or how to solve a problem, and it can plan an action. It can plan and take action. It can use tools because it now understands multimodality information. It can go to a website and look at the format of the website, words and videos, maybe even play a video. Learns from what it learns from that website, understands it, and come back and use that information, use that newfound knowledge to do its job.
Sounds like it was a lot of insight, a lot of fun, and your first time in America. Such a memorable assignment in more ways than one. Thank you, Sihui.
Thank you.
Catch up on all of Sihui's reports, and you have to see what Neo the robot looks like. Just head to YouTube and to CNA.Asia. There are also TV episodes of CNA Correspondent every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong time. I'm Teresa Tang. The team behind this week's episode is Saya Win, Clara Ong, Crispina Robert, and Craig Dale. A new episode drops next Wednesday. Join us then for more. Bye for now.